Okay, I'm going to keep this one short. Hi everyone, I'm just going to continue with my court case on this video clip, but before I do, I just do a few introductions into some of the laws and from in the moment and what's relevant to my case. So just keep in mind the game is global and that I'm being used for a pecuniary advantage since my privacy was gone, and I'm definitely the victim of crimes, and that is what is clearly articulates on my personal property, my profile. So my case goes back to 2010 with the protected disclosure application. So unfortunately, the reality is even though the laws have changed, if people are actually under oath, whether they're a police officer or any public office, they are actually under oath to tell the truth, to uphold the law, and also in regards to integrity and honesty of their services as an individual and for corporate bodies for the public welfare, obviously. So when a criminal inquiry takes place, people, whether they are under oath or not, they have to tell the truth, and there are ways of finding out who is telling the truth. They can do, well, for crimes like mine, conspiracy crimes like mine, they can do lie detector or put people under oath to give evidence and to see if they're lying. And if you're lying, you can be charged for perjury. Also, perjury can be evidence used in documentation, whatever people write to the courts in facts. If that is not accurate, it's perjury, and it can backfire. All right. Okay, so welcome to Authentic Ingenuity Entrepreneur. My name is Mina Crichton. My video YouTube channel is an exhibit, and so is my Facebook page. It's also an exhibit for my court case. That is actually a criminal case. It's all about me, my entity, my identity, my personal property, being my personal profile, anybody that I'm a client to, whether it be work and income, or other stakeholders. That is my personal property. Anything they write or say about me is, in regards to me, and all that becomes evidence. This is the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay, so my case is definitely a trafficking ring historically, and that's quite clear. Okay, I'm not saying that people within the moment that I work with the government were corrupt. Not everyone, because I know I worked with some very honest people, but there was the odd person, or maybe they were being misled. But however, I'm still allowed, I'm entitled to actually for justice and to have my say, and to also deal with my, those things that have happened to me publicly, also in the legal system. So basically, it's all about who's telling the truth. I can now prove in my evidence and my personal property, people have used me like an app. People have used me like a product. People have used me for relationship scams, and people are using me for money laundering or money laundering purposes. So that's quite clear in my personal property and anything to do with me historically. Okay, so I'm definitely the victim. Okay, so it's been a really inhumane scientific experiment by those in public office, or whoever is behind it, the controlling and manipulating. But the intentional emotional torment and torture is so intimate. Their their perspective or their motive and intent is to put stress on people enough to cause an accident. I have found historically that they've tried to, try and make things look like an accident, but it's not an accident. Okay, so all these things have taken place. Keep in mind it's also acts of tourism, and we're talking about a global game, making it even more dangerous for innocent civilians who are trapped in it. Okay, guys, so we're dealing with a sadistic spirit. Okay, we're talking about an evil spirit versus integrity. Okay, I represent people that are honest, and as far as your occupation is concerned, if you're working for the government, that is a code of conduct to uphold the rule of law, and also integrity of the government, and also honesty. Okay, so personally, my personal experience, I'm dealing with a sadistic spirit. It's an evil spirit. It's hate, it's heinous, it's murderous, and it's been used for a global commonwealth game. So basically they've pinned me down. That's the only way that they can do that to people, is if they pin them down and then take turns do what they're doing. Okay, so it's definitely 100% a criminal case. Okay, so it's definitely this. Okay, it's religious and cultures, cults. It's extremist. No one is, above the law. Okay, no culture, no race. When it comes to very serious criminal charges like what they've done to me, if you are caught out, you will be charged. But the game involves, like I said, an evil spirit with the intention to murder. It's in the mix, okay? Meaning if the game is global, the enemy has already studied you personally, and their motive and intent is to use you to steal, destroy, and kill. Okay, so they're in the mix, and the only way they can have this game and get away with years and years of serious violent offences is, contaminating the victim's personal environment. Their privacy is gone. They've studied everything about them. They know their weaknesses, and then they attack. I found that they have done the opposite of anything I say, or they've done it intentionally. Like eat my words. I've done video clips on this, but just going, I need to keep you guys in the moment with the game, okay? But at the moment I will be talking about the IPCA case, okay? But nothing has changed, okay? This is my case. This is why it's very easy for me to undo. It's because I'm the victim of what I've gone through. I know where the evidence is. It's a home invasion. It's about me. And but the motive and intent of a sadistic evil spirit is to murder. Okay, gangs are involved, linking to the government. They call it a democracy. I've been denouncing those video clips so everyone can understand how the game goes. It is a conspiracy. We are talking about 3 or more perpetrators controlling. It's a game about money, power, and that's all it is. And the thrill of the game is not getting caught. It's addictive. The people that are subject to it that are actually the vulnerable victims. Okay, it's a very evil. We're talking about psychopathic crimes. We're talking about people who may not even be competent in their mind as far as mentally, get a fetish out of these types of crimes. They've turned the game where individuals are like a product, and then they're actually coding them and then everyone is involved, meaning the originals are always at risk of being attacked. Okay, they don't rest, they wait and then they attacked. They're doing hit and runs. They're flying from overseas just to do hits. They're actually advertising it on their radios. All these things have taken place upon myself. So this can actually go back now to 2010. We're dealing with the evidence with my protected disclosure with the police and other corporate bodies at that point of time. Now, a lot of people have passed away, or and some have left the country and gone live elsewhere. However, because of the seriousness of the case, that doesn't matter. They'll find out where are these people, and if they need to be brought to trial for treason, for conspiracy, for murder, for anything to do with such serious cases, that can, all the laws do not apply where, whether there are other judgments have made. Criminal cases, overrides anything civil. Those laws do not apply with such serious cases as what I've gone through. But the case involves religious and cultural cults. I have found the extremists the white supremacy extremists have abused their power to, have other cultures and, religion gang up on me. Okay, they've used their jobs to gang up on me, and they've made me the perpetrator, or me the enemy when I'm not. I'm actually the victim trying to stand up for myself because I'm entitled to, and their whole intention really is to kill me. That's what the evidence shows. Okay, so we're talking about public safety, we're talking about public, like things are not safe. People think I'm safe, but the attacks has not stopped. Okay, those that are responsible for the murders going back to 2010, they have their foot in the door in everything I do. Okay, they've made contacts with people within my environment, or even when I was at my apartment at my last place I lived, my last residential. They were people in my apartment, were all part of it. I made lots of police complaints about that. I made loads and loads of complaints to the police about, people in the apartment stalking me and listening to me. I knew someone was listening to me and following me when I go out, linking to wherever I'm going. Okay, that hasn't changed. These people are making threats, emotional blackmail threats. They have made threats to commit arson or burn down the apartment or burn down wherever I am. Obviously, it's the opposing allies. And they are acting, they're using their jobs, they're serving me over the counter, they're tipping each other off. So it's quite clear somebody is organising and trying to control and manipulate everything I'm doing, and they are sabotaging and they are stealing, and they are using me for relationship scams. Okay, so this is what it looks like being animated or inanimate, it's called. Okay, there's always this middleman person. They're recording, they're listening, everything else is blocked. So it's actually very life-threatening. I've said to the judges going back when the court cases in 2017 that my situation was life and death. Okay, I know that a lot of the court cases I've had, I've made it clear to the judge my situation is life and death. Okay, they may not think it is, but to me it is, because I know that somebody is controlling and manipulating me and trying, to force their will, whatever that is, on me. And basically, I just knew my liberty was gone. I knew that my dignity was gone. I knew that I was being used for an app or a product. And yeah, I was like in a life, that is a life and death situation. Okay. And the only, when you're in a situation like that, everything you do, the best way for survival is all in the decisions you make. Okay, so nothing is natural since my privacy is gone. So actually, even though I am trapped by the enemy, it's actually even easier for me to actually detect who is my enemy and who isn't. Okay, so they do talk very kindly. But you just know that they don't like you, or you just know nothing is natural. If you know the difference, that will save your life. Okay, but now we're living in a technology generation. What's happened to me can happen to anybody. Keeping in mind, it's a global game. Okay, going back to 2010, I can now prove in the court of law in a criminal case that I have been subject to a global game of money laundering and relationship scam. They call themselves agents. So these people are flying from overseas and they are doing hits, and they're coding too. They're flying from overseas and using their jobs to do hits, and then they leave the country. Okay, so that's a very serious thing. And the reason why there's mixed match evidence is because they're using different things all the time. They know I'm a straight person. They know I work for the courts. So they're trying to confuse me. They're trying to create evidence that I'm, mentally impaired or have mental health problems, which I don't. Okay, if I've had any mental health issues, it's been because of the psychological abuse, emotional torment, and the hell that they've put me through intentionally. So everything they've done to me is intentional damage, intentional elimination. All that is on my profile, and that's not hard to prove now. Okay, guys, it's home invasion. It's a global game, and this is what it looks like when you're trapped. Okay, this is a very serious situation for everyone and for those that are actually targeted. Okay, especially if they're coding and they're using their relationship scam. So we're talking about a global game involving a lot of millionaires and billionaires. So we could be targeted from anybody in government overseas. I mean, I was working for the government, and all these things took place subtly, even though I knew it was taking place, but I couldn't explain it. All I had to do was just, make the right decisions in the moment, which I did. Okay, and I've always been a very private person, but now it's really easy for me to prove that in the court of law. Okay, the kind of game I've been subject to since 2010, I can confirm that it's inciting racial disharmony, racial harassment, and all these things take place. Okay, guys, so I have to go back to the root cause of my problem, and those that I have a reason of belief 100% is being used by the opposing allies. Even though these people are used, there are probably others, but this is what other cultures, secret societies, other countries are using to take over a person's environment or invasion. Okay, so it's all about a game. So going back to 2010, Moana was definitely used. I didn't know about her until more so later on, but I can actually definitely identify her and people linked to her. The Croatian, she was Croatian. And then Echo, she's Tongan. Okay, so you got to remember, these people do not represent every single Tongan or every single Croatian or every single European or whatever nationality or every single Asian. Okay, because I'm quite sure that they would not, the good people will not support people who are breaking the laws, especially for games, like how serious it is, what they've been used for, and while they were working, okay? So Echo was a police prosecutor when I worked with her. I've already got video clips and evidence on that. All that is true. I have found that some people, I have found that some people in their jobs are actually purposely going to sleep with people in your environment just for information, okay? Just to get their foot in the door, obviously. But Moana is linked to Pastor King and Natalie Vasquiso. Obviously, that's to do with Henry Cavill. And she's a fraudster. Okay, she's been paid or controlled and manipulated by other people, other white supremacists. It's all about a game, relationship scams, and they've all used me for that. And I've purposely denounced it because I know that they are the opposing allies linking to my court cases. It's taken a while for me to actually realise how serious, I've always known it was serious. I've had court cases where I've told the judges that my situation is life and death, okay, going back to 2017 before other judges, okay. But yeah, and now I can prove that. When I did my protected disclosure, the evidence on my protected disclosure clearly articulates home invasion, clearly articulates breaches, clearly articulates acts of terrorism, okay? So there are other people overseas in my space, linking themselves to the government, to people in government going back then. All right, guys. On the 27th of August, just this week, because today's date, 29th of August, 25. Yeah, on Wednesday this week, I went to go to a high court and I'd made submission and dropped off my plaintiff's argument submission, okay? I know that my case is going straight to the government. It's not actually going straight to the judge. This explains what I'm going through, okay? And this is where the cultural everything's coming in. That, of course, they've been doing this to me since 2010. I'm a threat. Okay, they will always pick the substitute over me. Okay, so when I went out, these are the kind of signs I saw out in public indicating the game. Okay, obviously, number 2, it's a relationship game. So it's the winner takes it all. And they've actually, I'm really frustrated. I actually want to prosecute the government for using me for relationship scams because I was a divorced person. I was a divorced single parent. I divorced my ex in 2006. Okay, that's actually an exhibit in court. But the other cultures in this game, they made out that I was still married to him when I wasn't. In fact, I cut him off for the sake of my children and myself, and because of his lifestyle and the choices he'd made. And I made a right decision doing that, okay? He was into drugs, alcohol, there was family violence, and I even had a final protection order against him, meaning none of his friends can commit breaches by stalking me or use people within my environment to try and control and manipulate me on his behalf, okay? He had a background of being involved with drugs and alcohol and selling, a drug dealer. He lived a different secret life. I knew that, and I didn't want to bring my children up in that environment. So my children do not have anything to do with gangs. They don't know anything how bad it was, because I protected them from that. That was the decision I made as a single parent. So I've basically brought my kids up by myself. Even in the early years, I was a teenager. The relationship was mostly on and off, but mostly off because of the family violence. I was younger then. It was dangerous. It was traumatizing, but I had to make a decision, for not only myself, but I had 3 lives to think about, and I made the decision to be a single parent, which I did. Okay, so I'm pretty angry that this game, other cultures have tagged him as number 1, and just because of his life, they have defamed my life and my children's life because of his life and decisions he's made. But we have all been brought like that. I brought my kids up well, and I brought them up in church principles. I was too. Okay, so but things happen, life changes. They're all doing well for themselves, and I'm very proud of them. But I'm just explaining this for the game. Okay, so they've tagged my ex-husband as number 1, and then they've tagged Rob Osborne as number 2, okay, and then they've tagged Henry as number 3. So I'm furious about this game, okay. It's all in the decisions I make. It's like the winner takes it all, and this is where the relationship comes in, linking to the government. Secretly behind the scenes, people are committing serious offences. Then they go and hire lawyers, and then they're trying to help them, not go to prison. Okay, so that's what's taken place. Okay, so some of these people in government are sleeping with people, just for the sake to get their foot in the door, just to find out information. That's why relationship scams or relationship setups, I do not like them. I hate them. Okay, I would never submit to anything that's not natural. Some cultures believe in setups, some cultures believe in arranged marriages. I don't. Okay. So I'm very cautious about things like that. I would rather be single for the rest of my life than be with the wrong person. Unfortunately, the evidence shows that Rob was a setup, even though it wasn't. It was like, well, we met at work, but somehow, somewhere along the line, things just change. And but those are the kind of things, danger that we have with relationship scams. Okay, relationship scams is the only way the enemy can get their foot in the door. Okay, they've isolated me, and then they're recording everything I'm saying. Okay, so my privacy is gone, and they like to have the upper hand on everything I'm doing. And then, the truth of the matter is that instead of me getting a fair hearing, other people, a group of people are making a decision on my well-being, on who to choose, whether they'll substitute or myself. And I've been judged for my age, because of course I've, I'm a single parent, I've had children. This is where these other people, the game involves the younger and or fresher. Okay, this is what they're using me for. That is illegal. If there's sufficient evidence to prove everyone liable, it can still be made accountable. Okay, so there's these other flags here. Okay, these people are actually acting out. Okay, the gangs are hired. all the government has done, they've given gangs a job to play games and commit some pretty serious crimes, thinking they're not going to get caught. But it's the kind of thing they can actually commit crimes and not get caught. Okay? It's that serious. It's organized crimes. But these are the flags that I saw on my trip on the 27th. Okay? They are the representative of the opposing ally, whoever they are. Okay, so they've coded me in words, all right? I get really frustrated. It affects me emotionally because I know they're talking about me. That's how I know the next move, or I know where things are going for me as far as my court case is concerned. Okay? Or I know their next move or intention. I have actually heard them tip off the public mockingly, like a joke, to like a hit. Tipping off their people, they're in trouble. I mean, that's serious. That's pretty serious. But that is active terrorism according to the laws, and that's 10 years imprisonment. Okay? And there's evidence in that in my protected disclosure in 2010. So once your privacy is gone, everyone within your personal property lies or won't tell you a straight answer, or you can just tell, or they'll tell you misleading information, or they lie. Okay, they've coded me with different words. They've coded me jelly roll. Okay. They've coded Henry too with different names. And he's not an alcoholic, okay? Because I have found that this game, they like to pick on people's flaws or anything, any habit, and then they want to interpret it. Just because somebody has a casual drink, does not mean they're an alcoholic. Or just because somebody married somebody, or their father or their mother, had a difficult life. That has nothing to do with the original individual, but that's the kind of defamation these sick people are doing, all right? It's sick what they're doing. They've ruined my reputation just because of my ex's background and what he did, but that is the criminal tactics they're doing. They're digging up people's past, and then people are being discriminated just because of their situation, and then they're discriminated for those very reasons, whatever it may be, and then they groom other men and women. They tell them what to do and help them to get their foot in the door. That's quite off-putting, okay? But that is what they're doing with this game. It's so dangerous because those people may look beautiful, may seem like the right person, but the fact that they cannot do their own thinking for themselves and they need other people to help them get their foot in the door makes them very dangerous. And also they change after they get what they want. Not only that, you don't know whether they've been paid by someone to get their, once they get their foot in the door, they're just used for information. Then they can, destroy your life and take you down. There's money in it for them. Then they just leave. They don't care. That is the danger of the game that I've been subject to. All right, guys, just quickly now on the evidence with IPCA. So I've been frustrated with this court case because the courts have not given me or anyone in that matter, because my life is a global game. So all the body corporates are all participating in this game, and people are moved by the coding, by the government. That's why I've been denouncing it, so everyone can understand the game, and that's only fair to do that. Okay, but I know that is wrong what they are doing. Okay, they're cheating by way of link, just because a person or the women, for example, the white supremacists are letting me know that they prefer Asian, or they prefer Tongans, or they prefer Croatian, or they prefer whoever it is they're using, or they prefer Indians, or they prefer, Māori. So that's an abuse of power, but that's what the game is, okay? That is the white supremacists using their power and authority to groom other cultures to gang up on me, okay? That is what they're doing, and they're just all using their job and taking turns doing that, okay? Also, these cultures or culture or all these people are all linked to conspiracy crimes involving me, because some of them have actually committed perjury, right? So on this particular day, what date was this? The email's on the 25th of August. The courts have not respected my privacy. They've exploited me while I was working for the courts, and they've also exploited my files or anything about me, like nothing about me has been private, okay? So the case officer is not, like, for example, got this email from this court registry. This person, his job title is a deputy registrar, but his job is he's a scheduler, okay? I wasn't happy about what he did, because he ended up emailing the Crown, okay? So there's quite clear case. This is evidence of trading in influence, okay? The Crown is the defendant. I'm the victim. I'm the plaintiff. They've taken everything away from me, and so I'm fighting for my liberty. I am the aggrieved victim. They know it, and they're getting pleasure out of it, but they're breaking the law, okay? They're using all the other cultures to gang up on me, and that's what they're doing. It's actually really serious, because they're all using their jobs. They're using roadworks, okay? Listen to your own gut instinct. When you know something is not right, it's usually right, okay? And I've known that they're acting out their motive and intent. That's not right, what they're doing. But they are linked to my court case, obviously, okay? So I wasn't happy. This guy sent out an email in regards to my court case, and he actually sent it to Sean Kiesler and Karen Ferris, okay? And so I sent him an email because Karen Ferris, well, from my point of view, she hasn't withdrawn legally, because she's supposed to withdraw legally, okay? Every lawyers can't just abandon a court case. That I know that the senior judges would be pretty angry with some of the lawyers with how they've handled their cases with me. It's quite obvious that what they're doing, they're abusing their authority, and they're trading in influence. So, but this guy here, he's a court registry officer, and he is a scheduler. I mean, he has gone and emailed Karen Ferris, the IPCA counsel barrister, and Sean. These two people, Sean Kiesler, I think he's also for the police case, okay? So we all know that the judge made a decision in the favour of the police, but my intention was is going to contest it because it's unlawful strikes. And I'm still contesting that anyways. But so that alone, I don't want to go right over on the situation. The investigators can go read what I mean, but I'm just exposing the secret society methods of breaches and trading in influence and sabotaging someone's case. That's how I see it. Okay, it's a breach. But the case officers is responsible to case manage everything. Okay, so but this case officer I've called her out. I don't know. She doesn't pick up her phone. If she does, she hangs it up when I'm ringing. I have found that I've rung the call centre, and the call centre have made me, they want to find out about my case, and they're not supposed to ask me or interrogate me about my case or anything like that. They're supposed to do exactly what I say, but this is all part of the game. It's also the sign of being blacklisted. Okay, they're helping the Crown. So I've had to kind of email them and told them to contact the case officer. Karen Ferris knows who the case officer is. She hasn't told the courts or myself she's withdrawn, because she's supposed to let the parties know and the courts know. I put a memo together when the new case officer came on scene to the courts to confirm who is the actual lawyer, because Karen Ferris has not withdrawn. Okay, so all this is linked to the government inciting on their video clips. Okay, so I know that the opposing allies is the Asian for some reason, linking to my daughter-in-law. Okay, the Maoris are the extremists. They do not represent every single Māori, because I've got Maori family. I'm just explaining the game as it is. That is absolutely illegal, cheating and stealing. But this guy, he sent out emails, and that's actually not his job. His job is he's supposed to liaise with the case officer. She'd already confirmed things with me, and she is the one that I'm supposed to take instructions from, because she's the middle person between me and the judge. Okay, not all these other people. So I had to let them, the new IPCA, because he's come on board as the new Crown, which is Sean McCusker. Okay, he's the new Crown. And when I say something from my point of view, it's because I know the court rules and protocols. I do know the laws. And so from my point of view, there is now still two lawyers acting for the same defendant, because Karen Ferris has not withdrawn and the judge has not confirmed her as being withdrawn, because I've asked the judge to confirm that, but the judge has not confirmed that. Right, so now there's two IPCA lawyers, but I believe this is a breach of privacy on my case. The courts have not respected, or the government has not respected my privacy, but they are secretly breaking the laws to tip off the public about me in my court case. So this is why I'm being sabotaged, and people